Okay, welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. Baruch Hashem, we have the zechut to have certain people that don't always come this week. So before I start, what I want to get into, I'm going to ask you if you have anything specific you have to ask. I like to put myself into waters, deep waters. So, any questions? Usually we do this before the shiur, then I know what they want to speak about, then we hear it. But now we'll do it while the camera is rolling. What are you thinking about that?
I'm thinking right now.
For a second, you look like you're thinking for the first time today, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, no? What's your
If
question?
someone is lacking in a midah, right? How does he know where to start or when to start working on it?
I'll tell you what, I don't like that question. Excuse me. Let's say I'm lacking in a certain midah. Who said I need that midah in the first place?
I mean, if you have
We're
it,
so into in this generation to be like Esav. Like Ishmael. To put ourselves into every little chor in the world. Who said? Who said we need that? If you're gonna say if there's a certain midah that I feel that I'm connected to and I'm not yet mastering it, how do I master that? But who said if you're missing a certain midah, that's for you? So think about that for a second. Not necessarily. Let's say someone is not a kasan.
is that a what?
Kasan. Doesn't get angry. In his nature, he just doesn't get angry. It's like a water.
Ooh.
There are people like that.
Is it water emotional though? Like the water says.
Right? Wait a second. Who is like that? What, now he should start being a kasan?
No, but that's a bad midah.
Well, who said it's bad? It can be used for good too.
Like-
Every midah can be used for good. So tell me a good midah.
Looking at positive things. Looking.
That's not a midah.
Being a giver.
To look at things to look at things in a positive view is not a midah. It's a way of life.
What about being a giver?
Being a giver, stinginess. There you go. That's a good question. Do you feel like you're stingy? Don't answer. Or let's say you're too open hands. Everything you touch right away goes. How do you work on that? You got to get someone to sit down with you, talk about your finances. When you go to the bank, there are certain features you can do that you can't touch the money. You need another person to come to give a haskama before you can take out the money. There are stuff like that for people that don't know how to hold their money. That's another thing. That can't really be changed and has to be controlled. What changes it is life, usually. Life experiences. When I started giving these shiurim years ago, I thought you can change the world. You're young, hot blood. I was in my young 20s. It was hot. The shiurim, I have them recorded, but I never put them out because they were so
I was there.
bloody, you can say, right? You guys remember, right? Those were like on the spot, hit person to his heart, made people want to change for life, right? But then you realize that maybe that's not so. It doesn't work as much. What works more small is getting a sense of having a connection with the student, calling him. I couldn't keep up with all these people that used to come. Hundreds of kids. Hundreds. Didn't know what, where, when. Were they just coming to do shtiyot? So you didn't get the feel of it. So now as you get older, you start to think that smaller crowd. And I watch as I get even more older, I'm going to say most probably, I already know how it is. Just the family. And when I get even more, I'm going to say just myself. I have to worry about where I'm getting, which I'm already feeling like to cut down less on the public affairs and worry more about personal affairs, personal things. And that's not due to the fact that I'm looking for something that I can't find. It's due to the fact when, as a person gets older, he starts to realize that the way you want things to actually be, you cannot expect it for other people. You can only expect that for yourself. The biggest tip in Shalom Bayit is you can't change your spouse. You can only change yourself.
So how do you, if you have a problem?
Heard that?
Yeah.
A person comes and says, "Oh, my wife, my this, my girlfriend, my husband, my you have to do the change. The other person, you can't expect them to change. If they're gonna have then they're gonna see, oh, he's changing, I can't take advantage, and they realize they're doing a certain mistake, automatically they should want to change. But if not, then they're just balik k'voi Torah.
So what do you do in that case?
Okay, then you have to really sit down and so on and so forth. There are certain things that you have to. There are, there's, my Rebbe always told me there's a fifth chelek of Shulchan Aruch. It's called common sense. A lot of people don't have it nowadays. It's out. It hasn't been, because it used to be, they used to teach common sense when we were kids. Right? Certain things of reality that were normal. Nowadays, nothing's normal anymore. And if you think something else is not normal, then you're not normal. So this is a deep concept, huge concept, right? Not here to put down anyone, to each in their own way, in their own derech. We love and will help every single person to what they believe and how they feel. That's not the question, but that doesn't mean I need to agree to it. I personally maybe don't agree, but that doesn't change in any way. If a person is asking you for help, but you don't have the same views, which is very hard. You have to be a person of intellect and not emotion. To still love him and care for him as a human being. This is where everyone's fault is. We're so worried about changing others, we're not realizing it. Just change yourself. Be the best you can be, and automatically you'll be. And this is why this week's parasha, when you see this week's parasha, I'm going to take your questions. I just want to touch it up. Shoftim v'shotrim. Judges and officers put on your borders. Now, of course, Torah always means something more deeper. On your borders. It means on yourself. When you read this parasha, that's it. We're already Chodesh Elul is here. It's here. That's it. 4 or 5 weeks is Rosh Hashanah, Habibi. You ready? Dip the apple in the honey, the whole thing. Or if you're Bukhari, dip the lung in the honey. It's a new zach. When I got married, my wife's side of family, they're very traditional. I grew up in a very, I wouldn't say they're not traditional, but they're more
Modern?
I wouldn't say modern. They grew up in Israel, so a lot of this old-fashionism stay there. And then when I came here and I got married, I go back to my father's house. I was like, "You ever heard of this? Dip the lungs in the thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, there are stuff like that." Again, I could have been there and say, "Sure, savsem say everyone look krish payachoshte." I didn't say that. I didn't say you guys are all wackos. What did I say instead? Okay, I'm going to be quiet. Maybe there's something that I don't know. I'm willing to learn. I'm eager to understand. You can't go to someone else's culture and start to be putting them down. You're not from their culture. How can you do that? Who are you? Who do you think you are? This is why Rav Avigdor Miller always says, getting married is difficult. Getting married to another culture, let's say you're Sfaradi, you're Ashkenazi. Even Ashkenaz with Ashkenaz, depends what sect of Ashkenaz, or Sfaradi with Sfaradi. And there's different kind of Moroccans, there's different kind of Yemenites, there's different kind of Bukharians, different kind of Persians. And it gets, if it's hard for a Persian to marry Bukharian, Kal v'chomer a Persian with an Ashkenazi, you're getting into deeper waters, you're drowning yourself. Which people succeed in that? People that are open-minded, people that are not judgmental. People a person that can be in another person's house and be eager to learn and understand and accept this is their derech. That doesn't mean now I have to change them. This is just who they are. We're so busy in changing the world, we have to stop for a second and say, it's not the world that has the issue, it's myself. Right? Why did the Nahash go to Chava and not to Adam?
It's easier to convince.
She knew that she always felt something wrong with herself.
She has low self-esteem.
Person that usually goes down in a certain level, it's always because it goes down to the source of it is you can say low self-esteem, but it's not being open-minded. Now, open-minded doesn't mean now I have to accept everything no. Open-minded means I hear what your concern is, I hear where you come from, and I accept it on your terms for you. But it doesn't mean I have to accept it for me. That's called someone that's open-minded. Not someone that you explain to him a certain detail and someone says, okay, I'm also that today. That's not normal. And that's why it says shoftim v'shotrim. You need to have standards, you need to have boundaries in your life. You need to know when to say no and when to say yes. And unfortunately, who are we to judge? But David HaMelech himself, he didn't know how to mechanech his kids, it says. He was too loving. He was a soft-hearted man. How is a man, the warrior of all warriors, just to kill little kids, women? Of course, by the word of Hashem, the word of God. He did it because that's what God told him. No, if God would tell us to do it, who are we to judge? But his own kids, he couldn't put them into place. No, he was a softie in nature. He was a softie.
In nature?
In nature, in his terror, he was a softie. Look at his two sons that went against him. No, Avshalom and... Does anyone know? No?
No, Avshalom.
Think about it. Adoniyahu. One of my two of God's names in his name. Right? Both of them beautiful names. Avshalom and Adoniyahu, and they both went with derech. Huge neshamot they were. They weren't simple people. People look at them, they say, oh, Yimach Shalom. If you would have their neshama, you would blow up like a firecracker. Ba-bang. But again, at the same time, you have to know how to mechanech. And I see as you get older, people always ask. I don't know why we're getting into this tangent, but maybe this is a wrong way of looking at it. But this is the way how I understood it. Why are people very into getting married when you're young, especially still in our culture? Not because we're primitive, you're Hasidic. No, it has nothing to do with that. When you're younger, you raise your kids with less emotion.
What do you mean by that?
It's an unbelievable. You don't have kids yet. You don't understand. Especially the husband, the father. The father raises the kids with less emotion, so he's more tough, and he's more strict, and he's more aggressive. Okay, we're not talking about hitting in a way of abusing. Every father has to know how to discipline his kids to their own way. As you get older, you start to deal with your kids totally different. You're more soft. You're more loving. You're more erech hapayim. You let them even say things to you like you're a trapka bonagid. And you look at your older kid, looks and says like, "This would never fly if I was a kid." Like, well, what happened? Like, what happened? So what happens when you raise the older kids properly? They become in a sense, the role models in the house, and that seeps down to the younger kids. But if you have kids and you're soft in the beginning, or you have it when you're older and you have less koach, what happens? I like that. What happens? What happens to the kids? In the original state, when you have them much older, you're already a softie. So what happens is that the kids don't have the right proper respect, and this is what we see is the minus of this generation. It's unbelievable. Regular derech eretz people don't have on the street. It's an abomination. I would speak to my Rebbeinu, some of my Talmidim now speak to me. My older years, they would think 3 times before they would even peep. Now, I wonder, you were, where are you from? Where you come from? What are you gonna do? You can't do anything about it. To accept them, you have to love them.
Why, it's not right to let them know?
It's not gonna help. Because they don't understand. Growing up in a society, we live in a society, everything is supposed to be accepted.
problem.
It's a big issue. Where's your open-mindedness? The open-mindedness comes to things that are humane, sane. Things that are unhumane and not sane. It's not an open-minded, it's being an idiot. To each their own definition to that, but we follow the Torah and the mitzvot. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו.
Amen.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
At a certain sanity. Okay, what did you want to ask?
I want to ask, have you established a good marriage? I just see someone
Get
has-
married first. Next.
What?
Don't ask that question now.
Well, I'm curious.
Okay, for the viewer's sake, you're lucky.
Huh?
No?
Like, let's just say someone has a temper or something, right? Let's just say someone
Temper?
Let's just say someone has a temper. And how do you like be a good husband to your spouse if you have a temper and like, you know?
It goes in every midah.
Well, yeah, anything that was just temper is usually
A
one.
husband and wife have to understand something that is extremely, extremely important. This is the fundamentals. For a man, when he comes home, that's supposed to be his safe haven. And for a woman, when she goes to her husband, not home, but to her husband, it's a bit different, and I'll explain to you why. She has to feel a sense of security. Once he doesn't feel home is home, it's a burden, and she doesn't feel like her husband is a husband, but another child, automatically all the balagan happens. It's just the fact of life. It doesn't make a difference in what you believe. A man in his nature, he wants the latif tov, he wants to give, and people should be satisfied.
Of course.
And a woman in her nature, she wants to nourish, she wants to take what she has and to blossom it. It's the human nature. That's why men give and a woman take and create a child. This is our nature. When those two things are missing in the household, automatically balagan. If a man doesn't feel safe that he's home, doesn't feel like he can open up to his wife. Why is he so close? Because you broke his trust. Did you think of that for a second? Or a woman or a man complaining, how come my wife is, I don't know, always aggressive and always raising her voice and always hiding things from me? Because she doesn't trust you. She doesn't feel like she can rely on you as a man. And then what happens? All the balagan. But if, and how do we see this when you go out? Why is it that when you go out everything is nice and dandy? Because what is the man showing? Oh, you can rely on me, I got you. And what is she showing? Don't worry, I can always, I trust you, whatever it is. Well, how come when you're dating and you don't know the guy, suddenly all those things are, wow, until it's 100%. And now that you're married,
You get comfortable.
you come, well, what does that mean, you get comfortable? Question you have to ask yourself, why are you getting comfortable?
So I feel this is what people do. Just get comfortable.
No.
I feel like they stop doing
I
what they
don't
do.
think it's comfortability. I think it's a lack of. It comes down to my understanding. It's a lack of understanding. Everyone has their breaking point. If I for example, if I had a hard day at work and I come home and I'm all just loyal, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated, and I start being aggravated at home. If you have a normal wife, she understands. Okay, he had a hard day. Let him air out. Let him calm down, and he's gonna come back to himself. But he's God forbid he's cursing and he's saying stupid things. It's just not because he's upset at me. He's doing it because he had a frustrated day. So he's taking out all that frustration where?
On me.
At the house. Why? Because that's where he feels safe to do it. Or likewise, same thing with a woman. A woman comes and goes and starts to nag at her husband and open up, and he says, "You think I actually care? What did you just do? You just allowed her now to, in her brain, mentally to say, I'm never going to open up to you. I'm going to open up to someone else." And now when she opens up to someone else, when that someone else gives the advice, automatically it can be even against him, and then he messed himself up. That's the issue. So First thing, marriage has to be a safe haven. House has to be a safe haven. It has to be a place I know I can go home and I can tell my wife anything, I can tell my husband anything. And their opinion is very important. It's very important. It's the only opinion that actually matters. No one else's opinion matters. You're living with the person for the rest of your life. That's what it is. This is when you that's why people that give shalom bayit advice, when they give an advice, they have to do it with such harchavat da'at, because they have to put themselves in the other spouse's shoes and say, how would they take it? Is this something that would just help him or help her, or would it help the marriage?
Would you say before marriage, when you're around your family or other people, it's how you act with them, you're gonna act when you're married?
It's definitely true.
But you don't feel like that.
You don't feel like that because you're not married.
I'm saying it's not
Because
the
your
same
house
connection.
right now that you're not married, this is your comfortable zone. So the way you act at home is usually how you're gonna act after you get married, because that's actually who you are. You're not who you are when you go out with your friends. You're on the boat, you're chilling, you're not like that. You're not like that when you're actually at home.
Yeah, but don't you think you're gonna be different when you're around
Yeah,
your
because
wife?
it's different, you have a different connection. Like, let's just say sister.
You're only gonna be different with her when you're dating. Once you're married, you're not gonna feel different. And that's why all the problems happen when?
After marriage.
After marriage. During dating, the problems that happen are problems that shouldn't be there. It's responsibilities that parents didn't take upon themselves that give on their kids, like the wedding and the preparation and what to live. That's the issue. Before that, you have no issue really. What do you fight about? I wanted to eat Chinese food instead I went to pizza. That's the argument. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that's it. It's done. It's finished. Okay. So where does the issue come? Where are we gonna live? Where are we gonna work? Why are the kids fighting about it? Why aren't the parents discussing about them and figuring it out? Okay, that's another issue we're not gonna talk about. But you have to understand that getting married is a bond and a unity between a husband and wife.
So you're saying if it's always worked on, you'll be
Yes. Being married, the concept of a husband and a wife, is something that always needs to be touched on every day. You have to mechazak yourself on it every day. Not only when there's a crisis. Because the crisis doesn't just happen, it's a buildup. And then it pops and you're like, oh, I thought we were good. No, we were not good. We were not good. I was just eating it and eating it and eating it.
And then
Unless you're a smart husband, you know what. But there are not too many smart husbands anymore.
if you're feeling something
That would exist. Fabrica close on that. All men are very selfish and all women are also selfish. You grow kids are also selfish. So what do you have?
So how do you make giving
Selfish
people?
family.
So how do you make giving people?
When a father is not absent and a mother is not absent, in the same way how they fight, the same way they make
What
up.
do you mean not absent? Both of them are not home?
No,
both of them are home?
you can say home, but that's absent meaning they live for themselves. I'm going to do my nails. I'm going out with my friends. You have wife and kids, or you have a husband and kids. What are you doing? Your first priority has to be your family. Why did you get married? You got married just to have physical intimacy? Was that the point? You don't need marriage for that, my friend. You don't need marriage for that. Because I want to have a family. You don't know what family is. Family is devotion. It's sacrifice. Why don't you have sacrifice? Don't do tavot? What's the point? Do tavot with anyone. I was going with one of my wife's relatives on the plane. We weren't sitting next to each other, and he was sitting next to some lady, and she was like 38 or something like that. She's like, they got the conversation. He told me she's like she wants kids, and he was so surprised. He has 4 kids. He's divorced, and she's like telling him, "Is there any way maybe we can get to know each other?
Oh, no.
And maybe you can. You seem like a nice guy. Maybe you can make me have a kid." He comes to me after the plane ride. He's like, "This generation now, they're crazy. She doesn't even need me. She just wants me for certain things and just bye-bye." To do the averot is not hard anymore. It used to be the Gemara says you have to go out of the town and to hide or that. Like this. Go to the closest bar, you say I'm available, you have a whole shtiyot over there. That's a shoftim v'shotrim. Where do these judges and policemen come from? They're all here. Need them here. If you don't have them here, they're not gonna help. Self-control. Working on yourself. Doing a challenge that's very difficult for you. And accomplishing it. Builds up your self-esteem. It builds up your choices in life. Let's say someone is overweight. Yeah, he knows he's overweight, or she knows, right? The only thing that's gonna build up the self-esteem is once they lose their weight. But they're always happy and bubbly.
Oh, but someone's gonna have confidence though.
One second, calm down. Ask any person that's huge, they're very depressed inside. As much as they're bubbly, and I'm telling you this not because I'm trying to, see, some people love me and some people hate me. I say it as it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I don't come from that, I come from that generation, but I don't come from that family. I grew up, there was an issue, my father used to tell me to my face, Habibi, there's a problem, and the problem is A, B, C, and D. How are we gonna fix this problem? That's it. You have an issue, you gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out. Now, I'm not telling you that you're big. I'm telling you you're fat. It's totally different. It's a different ballgame. Understand? What builds up a self-esteem? Boom, 20 pounds off. 25, 30, 40, 50. Picking up muscle mass. He's not doing it because he wants to be strong. He's doing it because he has to figure out his life. He has a couch potato. Barely move. So people thinking it in a very rude way. It's not a rude way. Because all those people that told him, don't worry, you'll be fine. We all knew it was you. When you sneeze, it's like Niagara Falls. You know what I mean? All these rabbis before told you, don't worry, Hashem's going to help you. You're good the way you are. I'm going to come tell you, no, you're not. You're going to die from diabetes. You're going to die childless. You're not going to have a wife. You're going to want to kill yourself. And then what happens? 3-4 months later, he's on a diet. He's exercising. He's changing his life. Why? Because he realized that that's true. 26 years old. When are you? 26, right? No girl wants to look your way. What do you think? And girls are bigger than him even. Like, what happened? Why? Why? This guy's a sweetheart. But why? I'm not making fun of people that are oversized. That's not the point of why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you because this comes to build yourself. You need change. He's someone that's not, someone's skinny, right? He can't find himself. He's like an avir. He's flying. One day here, one day there. You need structure. You have to get in touch with someone that has structure, someone that can make time management. Most people are unsuccessful because they don't have time management. They don't understand 1 hour is 1 hour, 2 hours is 2 hours, 4 hours is 4 hours, work is like this. You need time management. You need it. It's very important. Extremely important to success. You can do 100 different projects, but if you time manage all of them, you'll be very successful. How come we don't have this? Because we live in a world that everything should be, not just instant. Everything is accepted. Why? Accept you for who you are, but you don't have to accept yourself for who you are. But in a positive way, not in a negative way. I'm not telling you this to be negative. I'm telling you this to be positive. Okay? I want to read to you one pasuk in the Torah, in this week's parasha, 2 psukim.
What was the question this week?
Shoftim v'shotrim.
2 parshas?
No, it's what? Shoftim v'shotrim is the 2 first words. Shoftim means judges and shotrim means policemen. There's a mitzvah from the Torah, even for goyim. One of their mitzvot is to implement houses of laws. You need to have law. Imagine that, they'll be barbaric. They'll be barbarians. Any civilization in the Goyish world that didn't have judges and policemen, they're no more. They integrated in other civilizations. Why? Because you need that eventually. You cannot grow as a civilization. For example, Ploni sees, Reuben sees Shimon, right? Reuben has a family, Shimon has a family. One day Reuben becomes crazy and he wants to live with Shimon's wife. He comes and he kills Shimon, takes Reuben's wife, takes all of her kids as his own, starts a family. And then one day, Shimon's kids remember this, they get older, and they kill Reuben and all of his kids and his wife.
Which is their mom.
No, which is, because he had two wives, whatever. Call that a civilization?
No.
It's barbaric. It's unhumane to do any of it. Not what Reuben did, not what Shimon did. That's why you need laws. Understand? That's just it's a far-fetched example. Even stealing. Why are the Muslim countries the safest countries to live in the world? Because they have laws. You know what I mean? They have laws. You do one wrong thing, you're off with your fingers, with your head, with your leg. People are scared to move there. You know what I mean? The laws. I'm telling you to move there now. I'm just telling you, you need to have a look at America. What it was and what it is. I see the difference. I haven't lived in those kind of generations. You live ask someone that's in his 60s now, and he was born in America. He has two different Americas. You say three different Americas, from what was to what I was born to what was and what is now. Forget about it. I'm living different lifetimes. I'm like in a sci-fi movie. It's abnormal. So this is the pasuk I want to say. I'm going to read from the beginning, from the middle of the pasuk, and going into the next pasuk. Ki השוחד יעביר עיני חכמים ויסלק דברי צדיקים. What is shochad? Shochad means bribery. For bribery will pass through the eyes of the smart and will, I wouldn't say eradicate, but will nullify the words of the righteous. You know, I went to a shiur, and the speaker, he said, we don't need money. Money's not good. He's putting out money in a very interesting way. I said I have to correct it. Money is needed, is a necessity of life. Like water is a necessity, air is a necessity, money is also a necessity. But I don't see you running after air.
Oh, sure.
Right? I don't see you running after water.
We have an abundance of both, that's why.
You don't need to run after money as well. You have to earn it. When I mean run after it, it shouldn't be your focus point of your life. It shouldn't. Is it needed? 100%. I never said it's not needed. I'm a working man myself. I work. I'm a big believer of work. I believe work. The only reason why Hashem told Adam and Chava that they need to work was because He knew by working that's their salvation. He knew if Adam wouldn't work the land, Adam would have killed himself. He knew that was his salvation. He knew Chava needed to bring kids to this world because that's her salvation. We always judge our life based on our challenges, not realizing that our challenges that we actually have are the purpose of our life. We live because of those challenges. It's amazing to think about it. So instead of embracing it and overcoming it, we whine and nag. Why? Why are we whining and nagging?
They don't believe.
I don't know. To each their own.
They wanted to the easy way out.
Why? That's why you're here. You're here to overcome it. Embrace it. Huh? Embrace it. Take it. Take it in for what it is. We don't want to. We're going into Rosh Hashanah. Don't allow things to cloud you. Don't allow it. Rosh Hashanah is coming. Don't go to a shul that all your friends are going. Or if you do, don't go to a shul and sit next to where all the buddies are. You're not going there to do lele, to just talk. You're going there to daven. You're going there to pray. You're going there to connect. You know what I mean? What are you doing? What are you guys doing? Why are you wasting time? Who are you wasting time for? You're burning yourself. Instead of davening and focusing and growing and maybe litchanen, to cry to change the purpose of your pure existence. Instead of what do? You waste it. Then you complain, how come? Why are you not investing in yourself? Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchat Torah. These are great days. We're just sitting in a hut, Rabbi. Of course, you grew up in certain sects of Judaism that don't care about spirituality. What can I tell you? I think it's a hut. You're sitting in Yud Kei Vav Kei Mamash. You're sitting in the Binah. You're sitting in your mother's stomach every time you're in the sukkah.
Like a mikvah.
Yeah.
Imagine building a mikvah in the sukkah. Amazing! That's another project I'm gonna work on. Seriously. Since I learned how to hold mikvah so well, I can build a mikvah from things that are out of your understanding. I had a guy call me from a very chashuv place in the U.S. government, and he said, "I need help with a mikvah. I have a problem. I go places in the world for a big portion of time, and I need a mikvah. And me, as I am, who I represent, you can't see me going to the beach skinny dipping. It's not shayach, you know? Like what is this guy doing?" So we worked out details how we can make it, that he can, wherever he goes, he can always have a mikvah. For a man, at least. If you would want to do it kasher for a woman, it's a whole different thing. But to always have this, imagine being in the mikvah inside a sukkah. That actually happened to me one time when I was in Florida. I was in Miami. I was in Miami. I think I was in Collins Avenue, and there was a Chabadnik that had a mikvah in his backyard. He had it in his garage.
Was it open mikvah? How did
It was outside. He had it in his garage, and I think he put his schach on top there. It was interesting. I needed a mikvah, this and that. You can do a mikvah wherever you want.
Isn't any water mikvah?
No, it's just there's halacha.
Why not though?
A pool is not.
How though?
I thought it was.
It's not. No, it's not. So
How
it's
is the ocean considered a mikvah that you can go into?
ocean is a natural body of water.
But even the mikvahs that we go to today are not. They're like filtered and with chlorine, and it's like basically a pool.
So whatever you dip in is not considered the mikvah.
And like the ohels and everything.
No, if you look at any mikvah, you'll see either a hole in the wall or a hole on the floor.
Yeah, they have an ohel, no?
That hole in the wall or that hole in the floor is connected to another body of water, which was collected from rainwater, which naturally got there. That means a man didn't go to the ocean and start collecting water and putting it.
Yeah, but all the water we had, it was also raining, the ocean.
Well, whatever. Once it goes into a kli, you can say or touch something that's mekabel tuma, or if a man can take it, it becomes loses its chashivut, its power as mayim mikvah. Whatever. These are halachic details that we won't get into. But this is the next pasuk I want to read, and this one that everyone should really take to heart. How long am I speaking for already? 40 minutes? Wow, we have to answer it. Then we can do side questions and knock it out of the ballpark. Tzedek tzedek tirdof leman tichye ve'arashta et haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha nothen lach. Tzedek tzedek, justice.
Why is it 2 times?
Justice. You have to run after it. Why? Like that you should inherit the land that I'm going to give you. A person has to understand. Hashem gave us a neshama yitera. He gave us a soul, and in our soul there are 5 parts, and 2 parts are hovering over us, and 3 parts are in us. And depending on you, which part of that neshama is actually getting used. You have to guard that neshama, which we do with our something called a chalukad rabbanan, which based on our Torah and our mitzvot, that's what we damage or we don't damage. That's that's something we must guard. That means if you go to a gym and you know you're going there and you're going to check out other people, and you're not going there just to work out, but also to look at other things you're not supposed to, you're not doing tzedek. Let's say you go to college and you go to a certain school or you go to a certain class because you know someone's going to be there. Or you just want to be flirtatious and you're a married man. You know how many of those there are? Ahman al-Islam. Hashem should help them. Or a woman decides to dress provocative. But I'm doing it for myself. For yourself. That's where you should go. For yourself. New motto. We're going to wear shirts until here. Here's my elbow, right? I have to, maybe because it's dark, right? I have to show it. I'm starting to say this in every shoe because I feel so disgusted from it. I feel disgusted, right? Instead of wearing their shirt like it's sanua, bonagid, until here that you don't see the elbow. Now it's until here. And then whatever, you pick it up, it goes a little bit more. מה אתם עושים, חביבי, בחייכם? מה אתם עושים? This is going to make a difference to you? This? You wear this, tomorrow your daughter's going to wear this. You wear this, tomorrow your daughter's going to wear like this. Then what are you going to do? Then you're going to run to the rabbi? Then you want us to fix your problem? And these are people of high businesses and in special places, and they have Instagram accounts and social medias and this and that. They're considered chashuv people, religious. The Satan sees you, he doesn't want to deal with you. The Satan sees you, he doesn't want to deal with you. What are we going to do? No, think for a second. Think, hey, you're an old lady already. But you're not old, you're in your 40s. Why you need this? Why you need this? I'm doing it so my husband shouldn't look anywhere else. Treat your husband like a human being at home. He's not going to want that. What does that mean? Like, where's the chokhmah? Where's the mind? So what? Since they don't want to work on their Middot at home, so they bring an excuse for outside. Oh, but they think I'm beautiful. What is it to me? What is it to me? Why? Why are you breaking your marriage, breaking your life? For what? You have a problem? Fix it. Don't go show yourself out more. What kind of nonsense is that? Your phone doesn't have a filter. Your phone doesn't have a filter, you might be going over Isur D'Oraita every single second. You're allowing yourself to sin at any moment of your life. We have to make a special shiur for that popcorn. What are you going to do?
ASAP.
Don't forget.
Yeah, well, that I know that. We have to see. What are we gonna do? Rabbi side. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Run after justice. Run after peace. Run after what's right. Why are we not doing it? I don't know. Wearing black and white doesn't mean anything. I know I'm not, because you're wearing it doesn't mean I'm talking to you. Nah, I'm just saying in general. People think if you wear black white, you're a tzaddik yisod olam.
Opposite.
I never said that either. Those are your cheshbonot already. You're a kodesh leikod. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything. You're gonna find a guy wearing jeans and wearing a polo shirt, and he'll be more righteous than 90% of the guys.
Why is it a bad outfit? I don't mind Jewish community. Jeans and a polo shirt is like a children type of thing.
Okay. I personally am not an advocate for jeans and for. Shh, you guys on camera. Hundreds of people will watch this.
We'll pause it.
It goes on different platforms too, so be careful. Don't make me start with you. So, let me explain something to you. There is, of course, there is a derech libush. There is a normal way how a person should dress. Jews never dressed up in a thug-looking kind of manner. Okay. So you might say the generation changed and the jeans are a different kind. They're high-end jeans and so on and so forth. Speak to your personal madrich. But you don't listen to me, so don't point at me. So I'm telling you, don't grill him. So let me say something to you. A person has to be he has to know how to represent himself. You have to know how to represent yourself. You see the Hasidics that work on 47th Street?
Oh.
The workers, they don't wear black and white. They wear a blue shirt.
Hasidics? No.
Yeah.
When I was there, they just like every
No, because they're the guys that are actually the salesmen. But the guys that are bochnik, the guys that are cutting diamonds and stuff like that, they're wearing blue shirt. So there's a work ethic code of dressing, and there's a outside kind of dressing. A Yehudi has to dress a certain way. The Jew has to always dress
Elegant.
Exactly. You have to dress elegant. Now, elegant doesn't mean provocative. It's two different things. I can also put on nice clothes and that's the end of it. Yitzhara, before you know it, wherever you go. But there's a certain guideline you have to follow. I'm talking about when the people want to do it, they're so machmer and looking elegant, they start to become natsanoa.
Yeah, I think that's
Yes, a guy could also be natsanoa.
What's not to know?
Okay, there are different guidelines on how to dress, and we have less parts we need to cover. But
elbow, short sleeves.
but in the same time, we have to understand this fact. We live in a day and age. We don't work on farms, Rabbi side. We don't work on farms. We don't live in Africa. We don't live in a safari, in forests. We don't need to go with diapers running around going, woo! We don't do that. We don't live that way. There's a certain code of ethics you have to dress. To each their derech. But everything has to be on the guidelines of the Torah. I mean, it's coming to shul to daven with shorts and with a tank top. Come on. What is the kavod? You're going to daven to Melech Malcham Lachim. Davening to the Eibush, davening to Hashem. With a tank top, with shorts. Even slides is a big question in halacha. If you should wear socks or no socks. If you could or you can't. There's a big machloket.
How about Crocs?
If you wear socks, it's most probably 100% allowed. But no socks, it's a huge machloket. You have to learn the machloket. You can't just go and say no. But a girl to wear like this, it's not a machloket. It's a machloket between the satan and kafakela. Which one will take you in? Now I'm not telling you this because I'm trying to bash. I'm not the person. I don't like bashing. But why? Who? For who you doing it? What's with the tight skirts? For what?
But they say, oh, I'm wearing skirts now.
For what? Don't wear skirts.
Rather wear the
Might as well. No, that's also not.
Okay, but look, a girl,
Yeah.
not a religious girl, she's getting it. Rabbi, she's not gonna jump in and be a chassid.
Nothing to do with being Hasidic.
So there you go. She's not gonna jump in and do it 100% like
He
that.
keeps thinking that there have to be.
Oh, I'm talking to the rabbi. Please sit down, please.
He's thinking
Shh, you guys are getting recorded. You have to understand something. You have to understand something. Saying I'm becoming religious and becoming more provocative,
It's not gonna So what's worse? It takes time.
Habibi, let me explain something to you. Sometimes wearing a not sanua skirt can be 10 times worse.
Worse.
Not
Oh.
to know it's tight, or is it not to know the fact that it's above the knee? What if it's below the knee, but it's still, what if the girl that a big...
Listen. Let's not be graphic right now. But
Mhm.
wearing a skirt that's tight, like a pencil skirt,
Listen, Ellie.
like a pencil skirt, is a very big issur. You're not going on the guidelines of tzniut. Every man on the street does not need to see waves and curves. Doesn't have to. Why? But why? What's the enjoyment? And I'm becoming religious. That's not becoming. We have a problem in our definition in becoming religious. We think that becoming observant of Torah mitzvot means to follow the Torah mitzvot. Doesn't mean not to follow and think that I am following. That's the difference. It's like saying I'm starting to keep kosher, so I can eat meat that says kosher. It doesn't have to be Beit Yosef, but it says kosher. It's halal. That's not kosher to begin with. What are you starting with? Where does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. So we feed ourselves this nonsense. You understand? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. I'm starting to become sanua. I used to wear tank tops, now I wear this. No, that's not sanua. It's the same thing.
It's baby steps.
It's not baby steps, it's no steps. It's called a step never to change.
Yeah, it's slowly getting it. It's
We're
step
being
in the right-
delusional.
It's a step in the right
It's a
direction.
delusion. If you ask me personally, it's a delusion. That's something you tell yourself, stop.
Nah, bro, there's a step in the right direction. I think.
Ellie, it's still
Let me explain
I'm
something.
talking to the rabbi.
Let me explain.
I'm
Shh,
talking-
no names, please. Let me explain something to you. I want to explain something.
Superman people.
Shh, let me explain something to you. Baby steps means you have to at least take a step. From being not sanua to not sanua is not called taking baby steps. That's
Yes,
called.
but it's less not
That's
sanua than
what
it's
does that
the-
mean?
Okay, let's say a girl. She goes from
Let's say, right? Someone wants to chop off your hand.
Oh my god, I would not do this comparison. Listen. So let's say she
Listen,
goes from
let's
hair,
see.
she's from tank top and shorts. Now she goes from like skirt right by the knees and a shirt that's like a little like that. That's it, step by step. She's not gonna.
But
be,
she's not becoming sanua.
She's not, but it's getting there.
Get on it.
It's like when someone quits smoking. Same thing. Or someone
I don't
gets
accept
on
it.
a diet.
I don't
You know,
accept
they don't jump
it.
in
I don't
there.
accept it, and I'll tell you why. Now, I want everyone to understand. The viewers should also understand.
No, but you can't use an excuse.
I totally understand when someone says they're going level by level, step by step. You know what my issue is? I'll tell you what my issue is.
Wanna take advantage?
When you are a person that wear a tank top and you start to wear, what's it called, half what? This is
T-shirt.
whatever. You start to wear over until here. What happens is you have to understand, and you have to know this is not allowed. Most people stop here. They don't continue going lower because they start to see observant Jews, but they're not observant. Rabbi Isai. Because they have a big following and they talk about Torah mitzvah doesn't mean anything. They're not observant. They start to feel, okay, it's allowed. It's mutar. It's not mutar. It's not allowed. You're not allowed. What are you doing? That's the problem with this. Do you understand?
Yeah, no, when you get comfortable.
That's the issue.
But not everyone does it.
90% do.
But then some people, like,
90% when they start to mechazek, they stop at a certain point. They don't continue going
some
all the
people
way.
also, like, they're not religious, they become crazy religious fall off. So
No, becoming crazy religious is not becoming religious. That's going into a cult.
Become
That's
fanatic.
fanatic is not
not being
religious.
idiocy. It's not doing.
Fanatic. I'm not a fanatic Jew.
You're not. There's
I'm not.
other people
I have a
know.
beard. People think because I have a beard, I'm a fanatic.
I have a lot of friends. They were not religious, became religious, jumped in, and got off.
Okay, but they just so said they didn't
I'm
do
talking
it.
to
They
you.
didn't have. They didn't.
No, listen.
They didn't have proper. They didn't have proper hadracha. They didn't have proper. They didn't have proper guidance. A person has to understand something. When you're going into Torah mitzvot, you need proper guidance.
There you go. But then they took it step by step. I know one of my personal.
You only can do that when you have proper guidance.
There you go. So that proper
When a
guidance,
person
that's-
says my proper guidance is my social media because I see how A, B, and C does it, and they stop at a certain level, that is a chirum. That's what you think. You're not in my workspace. You don't know. People don't even know. People don't even know what a disaster. And I don't only work with Sfaradim. I work with not only with Bukhari. I work with Ashkenazim, different kind of Sfaradiot. I'm not primitive. I don't only know Russian or Bukharian. I know Hebrew. I understand Yiddish somewhat. I know other languages, so automatically I speak English perfectly. So when you talk to people from another culture and they come and they tell you these issues, you start to realize that the issues are from within because people made it allowed. They made it allowed. It's not allowed. We're talking about women, men. Why don't you pray 3 times a day with the minyan? You're missing Meya Berachot, 100%. How come you don't wear tzitzit? Why? What's the exception? There is no exception. Why don't you put on tefillin every day? What is the exception? There is none. It's hot.
I hear some people say it's hard.
What does that mean? It's hot. Don't tell me, oh Rabbi, you grew up in it. That has my body takes out more heat than most people I know. In the winter when it's like -1 degrees, all the windows are open and maybe even sometimes the AC is on. You have to understand that. You just did that because you're it's a bit different. You understand? Now, it's too hot. That's not an excuse. Focus. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. So don't wear the thick tzitzit. Wear the thin tzitzit. No one told you to wear thick. There is no hidur in wearing thick. Not that I know.
No, it's the right, no?
Yo, I haven't seen those thin ones in a while.
Tzitzit is doraita.
No, the cotton and the wool.
No, I'm talking about the thick strings. Wear the thin strings.
Yeah, but the strings doesn't bother you. It's the
Oh, trust me.
Hey, sometimes it bothers.
the bathroom. I'm saying.
Okay, whatever the case is. Other details. Of course, you should wear either wool or wool tzitzit or linen tzitzit, because those two are doraita.
Rebbe.
Well, cotton is drabanan already. Every other material is drabanan. You have to try to wear wool. No, we don't sell usually linen tzitzit.
Yeah, this
It's not common. It's not something that
It's a
they.
better quality.
No, it's I don't know. Shh. Better to wear wool because it's a doraita, as it says in the Gemara, Rishonim. Everything else is drabanan. But that's not the point. We're not giving a halacha class. Guys have to understand. There's no excuse. Why don't you wear a kippah? Why not? There's no excuse for you not to wear a kippah. Especially you. Don't make me say your last name in public. Shh. Especially you. I'm not worried of you getting into a street fight. Not at all. You just that guy is one phone call away from being under 6 feet down, right? 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 Shh. Same. Why don't you wear a kippah? What are you ashamed of? What are you guys ashamed of? How are people gonna look at me? You live in a generation where if they don't accept you for who you are, they can go to jail.
Straight up guys in dresses.
You understand? And you worry to wear a kippah on your head? This is what you're worried about? This? Come on. Shotrim v'shotrim. Be happy you're a Yid. Be happy you're a Yid. Represent who you are. Represent who we are. We're Yidin, Rabbi Sai. Gonna finish with this. Then we'll do more questions if you want after, because it's just getting too long, and I know you guys want to get personal and start getting to a different level. The pasuk says. The pasuk says a person shouldn't put an ox and a donkey on the same on the same plowing machine together, because they're two different meaning. They're two different kinds of animals. I want you to understand something. A Yehudi and a not Yehudi are two different platforms. Don't think for a second you guys are compatible, because you're not.
In anything?
In anything. Don't ever forget that. Don't think there's better on the other side. That's all I want to finish with, and I have a reason why I'm finishing with this. Amen.